We had received concerns about the female player model's breast physics in the past, and we thought we should ask the community what felt more appropriate. Unfortunately, this crossed a line.
Grooms, aka Mark Kern, reports that Elon Musk X is suppressing his Free Stellar Blade campaign by failing to auto-complete the hashtag and deboosting it.
It amazes me how dumb people can be on the internet. It truly is astonishing. Mark Kern tweets this out. Twitch streamer ups my bounty to $30,000 while reacting to Asmongold's video about Tome Man's death threat against me. This is getting out of hand. This should be a permanent suspension on Twitch and X. Also, FBI should be looking into this.
They want to claim that it's jokes until it's not. They want to claim that it's funny until it's not. They want to say, oh, you're just making this up, or this isn't supposed to be taken seriously. What happens if somebody acts on that? Well, guess what? The person who tweeted that out or said it in a video is going to be held responsible.
The CEO of Farm Folks Game was harassed yesterday for most of the afternoon by people who don't even care about the game, resulting in the half-baked apology. I've actually had Cooks respond to this, saying that he checked maybe the first 7 accounts of people who were still nagging about the Jiggle Physics tweet, saying that the damage was done or that they were glad about the apology. I searched for the terms farm folks and farming on their accounts, and 0 tweets showed up. None of them ever intended to buy or play the game.
Kern responded to Ramenburger626, writing that this is an old Twitter censorship trick. It is how hashtags are deboosted. We saw this plenty in the original Gamergate days. Elon Musk, you got rats in the system pulling old dirty tricks.
Many gay, female, and trans members of the server logged on last night to find it in flames and were enraged because they had already had internal discussions about the tone of the tweet and liked it. Then groups like Black Girl Gamers seem to have been behind alerting the horde. But it's not just that, it's a bunch of cancel pigs who never even cared in the first place.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. Alright? Because then it's a win-win for me. I get more breast, and I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore.
You gotta listen to Mercante here again. This is why I brought her up earlier, making fun of this, saying, oh, you know, get the screenshot of Grums saying they tried to kill me to stop this. And she's like, yeah, my cat when I stop him from knocking the milk carton out of my hand so that he can drink the spilled milk. Basically saying that this is just Grums acting like a spoiled animal that's just trying to be obnoxious and like over dramatic to get attention.
Now, in case you're wondering at home, based on a fair interpretation of the law, what she did, what she said in that clip might constitute a felony in the United States.
Welcome back to my meandering exploration of how Sweet Baby Ink are merely the symptom of a more deep-rooted disease infesting Western culture in these strange times. Your tinfoil hat is ready and waiting, so I guess we should really get stuck into this fetid mire of corporate-driven nonsense. So why bring all this backstory up? Because racketeers like Sweet Baby Inc. can only exist as entities now and only avoid getting visited by the cops because they are a small cog in a wider machine of social transformation being deliberately inflicted on Western democracies by those arse clowns at the WEF. Arse clowns that incidentally include many of the political leaders running the countries of the people watching this video. Trudeau, Kamala Harris, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss. Go check out their own website.
We penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. It's so in France now. I'm with the president, with a young global leader, but what is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here. And we, in addition to the young global leaders, we have now the global shapers in 450 cities around the world.
These fuckers don't work for us. They work for Santa Claus. And if you think I'm exaggerating, well, the Canadian Conservative Party is trying to introduce a law banning anyone affiliated with the World Economic Forum from holding public office.
My ministers in my government will be banned from participating in the World Economic Forum when I'm in government. Work for Canada. Work for Canada. If you want to go to Davos to the conference, make it a one-way ticket. But you can't be part of our government and working for a policy agenda that is against the interests of our people.
These guys are not crazy conspiracy theorists. They're bloody Canadian Conservatives. You don't get any more traditional, reasonable and normal than that. These guys are into clean sidewalks, law and order, knitting sweaters and probably pot plants. They ain't particularly conspiratorial or radical. Well, these guys think associating with the World Economic Forum is a threat to national security and democracy, almost on par with treason. And I frankly agree. We have the UK Prime Minister telling the British public that everyone has the right to pay in cash. But at Davos, he's promoting central bank digital currencies and digital ID. We have the Canadian Prime Minister telling the public that the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory, and then bigging it up at Davos with his billionaire mates. These bastards are gaslighting you, and if you dismiss this all as a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because your state-run legacy media is gaslighting you too, then you are literally admitting that you can't spend an hour on the World Economic Forum website doing some very easy research on the full depths of their levels of batshit crazy depravity.
The World Economic Forum, I think, has a big responsibility in that as well, to be pushing the reset button and looking at how to create well-being. The key is to put the health of people and the planet first, and that's what's happening on COVID-19. And that's what has not yet happened on climate change in many cases, because the fossil fuel interests and the large industrial farming interests, they want to keep things the way that they are. There's big vested interests that want their health to come before people's health and the planet's health. Large industrial farming interests, they want to keep things the way that they are. Large industrial farming interests, large industrial farming interests, large industrial farming interests.
When we had computers, books, video games, we had to think, okay, what's the tasteful, appropriate use to just get the good and minimize those negative things.
Do you think that there's applicable lessons to AI from that?
Well, what we're seeing in social media is that people will often cluster around extreme views or even misinformation. And, I think that's part of human behavior that you want to try and avoid. Nobody's ever, come up with a set of regulations that fully deal with that.
But if you take anything away from this, just remember this critical point. Whilst lots of the foot soldiers in this war might genuinely believe the bullshit politics they spout, in fact most of them do, the bigger endgame here is not political. This is just about money and power. This is all about creating the circumstances where society is so fragmented and demoralised that they don't resist the full corporate takeover of governance and the end of formal democracy. Which, let's face it, might have already happened. People like Sweet Baby Inc. are useful idiots, being facilitated, encouraged and often funded by the regime. And this is not happening to make a better world. They're supporting it because they're helping to divide society. I appreciate that this is a huge segue into politics in a video that is theoretically about video games. But there is method to this madness. But I can't stress enough that if you want to understand why an entity like Sweet Baby Inc. exists, why it is protected by the state and legacy media, and how these activists get funding all across society, then you need to understand the big play here, and what's behind all of this, and how this little consultancy firm, full of alleged racists, activists and gaslighters, is just part of a bigger operation. An operation that's been going on for decades. And I'm sure if they watched this video they would claim that I'm 100% wrong, because they're not self-aware enough to even countenance the notion that they are small actors in someone else's game. It's just like when America or Britain covertly fund some random revolutionary group in some country we don't like. What is really going on is that we're trying to destabilise the country. But I'm sure if you spoke to the revolutionaries, they would neither consider nor possibly know that they were CIA assets. They think they're fighting for the right to make Che Guevara t-shirts compulsory in schools. They often don't even realise the real source of the funding. Just like I'm sure these DEI consultancy firms funded by government grants, government institutions and self-interested billionaires would not for a second describe themselves as working for the feds. These useful idiots legit think they're radical activists, and just like most radical activist groups through history, the real motive behind the actions usually resides with the person picking up the bill. And I mean it when I say these activists actually believe the shit that they're promoting. They've gone through an education system infiltrated by left-wing activists, got degrees from DEI universities that tell them that maths is racist. Their heroes are academics who promote reparations and segregated classes, and all the problems in the world are caused by straight, white men. They sit on social media, having propaganda shoveled into their eyes. They literally are the product of propaganda and represent a huge failure in critical thinking, and a huge failure in domestic counterinsurgency as well. And wherever you go, and wherever you check the receipts, you see vast amounts of funding from governments and corporations to encourage this crazy shit. And you have to ask yourself, why are so many billionaires and giant corporations bankrolling this insanity? Why are they literally at odds with and working against the traditional social values of their own customers and population? But here is the truly hilarious part. Joey Rando, your typical guy, Barry Basic if you will, thinks this is all just changing times, that kids have different values these days. This is a natural, organic change in society, and anyone suggesting this is deliberately orchestrated is one of their far-right extremists who believe in UFOs. Although increasingly I'm coming to the conclusion that UFOs will most likely fuck off as soon as they see what a mess we're making of it down here. Well, wakey Joey fucktard Rando, because according to the FBI, these days buying a Bible or a legal hunting rifle gets you flagged on the government's far-right extremist watch list. Simply protesting against some trans activist sticking his cock in your 6-year-old daughter's ear in the women's changing rooms can get you flagged as a far-right extremist. According to Joe Biden, President of the United States and child sniffer-in-chief, buying a MAGA hat makes you an extremist and a threat to democracy. Joey Rando still thinks that corporations and governments were just listening to the tree huggers and activists who wanted to save the rainbows and liberate the unicorns, and they're all just spontaneously deciding to go woke. How about no? The origins of wokeness and all this environmental social governance implementation can be traced back to investment banks like Goldman Sachs. Enforce subjective behavioural regulations on corporations, be in charge of both making and enforcing the rules, and own and run the companies responsible for rating this score, and you can literally dictate what the corporations do, who they do it with, and what they are worth. This is why an oil company ended up with one of the highest ESG ratings in the world. Because it's a fucking scam, where it's pay to win. Now add to this that BlackRock will cut your lines of credit or increase your interest rates on business loans if a major corporation is deemed to have a poor ESG rating. That's how deep this rabbit hole goes. It's literal corporate blackmail, allegedly. It's no longer about just profit and capitalism, it's political compliance and control. This sounds like a giant scam, right? Because it's the biggest scam on the planet. Disney's a perfect example of this scam. They used to make shows people liked. They decided to go full ESG compliance. They'd started churning out offensively woke propaganda. Now they're in a financial crisis. Talk about being between a rock and a hard place. Do what the customer wants and I'm screwed by BlackRock. Do what BlackRock says and lose all your profits. Who knows what BlackRock's angle is here? Maybe they're planning to swoop in and acquire all the IP. Maybe they're just siding with Amazon Entertainment. Who knows? Now, I fully appreciate that I've just glossed over enough material to make a really bad 5-season political documentary. If you don't know this stuff already, it's a lot to take on faith, and if you're completely oblivious to the fact that a bunch of elites and Saudi oil sheikhs are dictating domestic policy to your own country's political leaders, then this probably all sounds a bit like an express train ticket to Crazy Town with a complimentary tinfoil hat and tall glass of slightly chilled peyote thrown in. But the important part is this. This top-down, cultural, financial and informational warfare is deliberate, and it starts on this mountaintop. They talk about it every year at Davos, then they publish videos about it on the interwebs, and then thanks to the active participation of many politicians, Western leaders and EU technocrats, it is all then transmitted down in the form of legislation, funding, education, censure, and, well, punishment. Surely you find it a little bit weird that one of the DEI companies who is attacking gamers over Sweet Baby Inc. are a wholly funded, yes, entirely funded, by the Department of Homeland Security. If you don't think this is a small window onto a larger psyop, why the fuck are the feds funding companies to make your video games and TV shows so woke they disgust you? Why are presenters from the British state-funded TV calling for a purge of gamers who don't support DEI? And if you don't want to take my word for it, read the following books. Woke Inc., The Fourth Industrial Revolution, Controligarchs. And if you still think I'm full of shit, please explain why in the comments section. And before anyone lights up in the comments section with zero knowledge of what I'm talking about, squawking, "Ree! It's a conspiracy theory!" At the very fucking least, do me, yourself, and humanity a favour, go to the World Economic Forum's own YouTube channel and spend a lazy few hours watching in horror as they post video after video about their sinister plans to put everyone on climate lockdown, monitor everything we do 24/7, take away our basic human rights, scrap democracy, run the global population like we're fucking lab rats in a maze, and try and discourage us from straying more than 15 minutes from our house in any particular direction. It is not a conspiracy if they are advertising it on the internet, and it is not a conspiracy theory just because someone hasn't heard about it because they're too damn narrow-minded and lazy to Google it. If I was murdering hookers and posting videos about it on YouTube, you couldn't really call that a conspiracy. A hoax, maybe, but anyone saying 21 Kiloton murders prostitutes in his basement would not deserve to be called a conspiracy theorist. Possibly not my best example. So let's move on. The situation thus far. And into this dystopian hellscape of the UN 2030 Charter countdown for taking all your rights, freedoms and property ownership away, dominated by the World Economic Fuck Farm who want to destroy nation states and have us run by a group of technocrats from a Swiss mountain retreat like some cliched Bond villain, all heavily funded and influenced by Saudi Arabian oil money and billionaire pedos, allegedly, comes Sweet Baby Inc., a company that could only exist in this precise timeline and at this precise moment in time. In an environment where organised cancel culture mobs are sitting on mental case magnet, hate-filled progressive activist forums and websites, discussing who and what to hate and where and when to attack, Sweet Baby Inc. saw a business opportunity and rolled with it. Strictly hypothetically, it has been alleged that Kim Belair got up one morning and thought, "I hate Whitey. I want to take over the video game space and turn it into a BLM safe space. And I want to ruin video games for white male gamers, plus turn it into a means to indoctrinate children. There's so much funding money shitting from the sky, it would be rude not to. I know, I'll go around door knocking video game developers and do what that cracker bitch did. I'll tell them that they should hire me as a consultant so their video game won't get cancelled. And if they don't hire me, I'll threaten to get their video game cancelled. Once I've got my foot in the door, I'll suggest all manner of crazy woke shit. And if I don't get everything I want, I will strut down to the marketing department like a crazy BLM Karen and spell out how I'm going to cancel their fat asses if I don't get my fucking way. Once I finish shaking them down, this bitch is gonna get a big payday. The video game will be shit, but hell, I don't even like video games, so I don't fucking care. Honestly, I'm Kim fucking Belair. I don't really play video games, I just break them. Video games are for white supremacists. Rinse and repeat. Now, I would never countenance any of this as being literally or strictly true, but some do. It's figuratively true. I was just kind of paraphrasing what other people have claimed she has said. Allegedly. So what is it precisely that Sweet Baby Inc. do to make its money? Well, some would say blackmail and extortion. I wouldn't say that. Mostly for legal reasons, although those are pretty much the tactics that Kim Belair herself described in a presentation once. They claim that the precise nature of their work is incredibly nuanced and complex. It is also a type of consultancy that requires a deft touch, and the ability to subtly influence the flow of narratives in an almost imperceptible manner, so that the resultant creative work is demonstrably more representative, but at the same time retains the hallmark and integrity of the original auteur.
I just move shit with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken some abilities.
I just moved shit with my mind.
I just keep hearing I.
I just move shit with my freaking mind!
So, let's use a 100% hypothetical and fictional example to illustrate how Sweet Baby Inc. influences video game projects for the betterment of all mankind. Imagine I am developing a video game called The Odyssey of Walter Smith. It's a classic World War II action-adventure shooter where we follow the adventures of Smith, who ended up fighting in several theatres in World War II, ultimately ending up liberating a German concentration camp. I get a call from Kim Belair explaining to me how I really need their services, because it would be a great shame if the launch of my video game was marred by a backlash over misogyny, sexism, a failure to represent diversity in race and sexuality, and more specifically, a failure to give her lots and lots of my money. The last thing I need is for my sales to be crushed by an angry mob of vicious activists, ergo her mates and her online following, allegedly. So I hire her company, pay them $1 quadrillion, and they go through my entire storyline and plot, snipping bits out, putting bits in, race swapping characters out, and generally giving it a deep rinse in the toxic DEI chemical bath. You know how it works, it's basically like a Netflix show. All the straight white people are evil, and everyone trans, gay, non-white or whatever, well, they're obviously fundamentally good. Because everyone knows that every single member of the Wi-Fi password community is a morally good person. Same goes for disabled people. They are, to a man, all 100% nice. That's why there hasn't been an evil or toxic disabled person in a TV show this century. They are all nice. It's the law. When Sweet Baby Inc. are done, the game now looks like this. The video game is now a story about how Walter Smith is a white male misogynistic wife beater. I've got no problem with it so far. But they go on. Walter now dies horribly in Act 1 of the game, stabbed by a lady whilst trying to force himself onto said defenceless farmer's wife as the British forces are conquering Italy. What's even worse is that whilst he was engaging in non-consensual rapester stuff, he was also doing some of them their microaggressions, and said something that trivialised the wage disparity between male and female farm workers, thus reinforcing the patriarchy. What a bastard. Not that she was really all that defenceless, after all she had a carving knife and she stabbed him to death, but let's not worry about the details. These days, it's absolutely acceptable to portray violence against straight white male protagonists. Once you see it, it can't be unseen. None of this makes any sense so far, but let's just carry on. carry on, because in Clown World, woke plots don't have to make narrative sense, as long as the propaganda gets promulgated. After his raping action is over, Walter's adopted daughter comes into the frame, to carry, read Berry, his toxic legacy. His daughter is a one-armed, transsexual Guatemalan refugee lesbian. Walter always treated her badly because she was foreign, and white people are inherently racist. But his missus adopted her and he didn't get a say. And this doesn't make any sense either. But no matter. His daughter arrives in Italy because she is a front-line commando. Sounds too ridiculous, right? Apparently not. Instead of fighting the German and Italian forces, she explains to all the allies that all the soldiers, including the British and the American fighters, are all equally misogynistic homophobes and represent the oppression of the patriarchy. The real enemy here is not the Nazis, it's men. So she sends all the soldiers home with a good telling off and heads to Germany. When she gets to the concentration camp, she reluctantly releases the Jewish inmates, but scolds them about the way they treat others, and warns them that if they end up being mean to other peoples, like Hamas, the Palestinians, she'll come back to fuck them up as well. Then a small transgender teenager staggers forward and thanks her for calling them out, and says some stuff about how she's incredibly stunning and brave. So with all the concentration camp inmates shuffling off after a sound scolding from our hero she single-handedly storms the bunker in Berlin, but instead of killing Hitler, because he's an evil genocidal fuckwit, she has a moment of alleged clarity where she suddenly appreciates the moral relativism of the situation, and comes to the conclusion that really Hitler is not the bad guy here. He's as much of a victim in all of this. It's not a binary moral dilemma between good and bad, and the moral boundaries are blurred. And besides, we need to subvert people's expectations. Read, our hero couldn't spot an evil butcher if she was being chopped up on the fucking butcher's block by one, whilst he nibbled on her liver. So, she decides to let Hitler go. Because according to our beloved one-armed transsexual Guatemalan refugee lesbian hero, Hitler might not be perfect, but supporting Hamas, Gaza, is the big ticket issue here. Anyway, Zer, has to get back to Blighty in time for tea and medals with the Queen. Yes, I fully appreciate that during World War II, the British monarch was King George. But we had to swap him out for a black female because Kim Bellend marched down to my fucking marketing department and told them if she didn't get her fucking way, she would dox me and fire up a targeted harassment campaign against my video game development company. Everyone lives happily ever after, especially Hitler, because it turns out he might be a little bit gay, so he deserves protected status. All the soldiers die when the boats sink on the way back to Blighty because men deserve it. Great ESG rating, shit sales results, 14 people playing on Steam 2 weeks after launch. Anyone who criticises this dogshit game gets called a racist, homophobe or bigot. The end of my video game studio. This is what Sweet Baby Inc. does in a nutshell. It's only an alleged nutshell, and I'm certainly not claiming it's a true nutshell, but allegedly, according to nefarious and unspecified other people's opinions, this is how it would play out. Go and have a look at some of the video games they've consulted on and tell me how much I was exaggerating, because frankly, if you put my fictional example on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to some of the shite work that Sweet Baby has done, I would only give it about a 6 out of 10 on the woked and broke scale. Sweet Baby Inc. were perfectly positioned between the angry mob and the potential victims, video game companies and entertainment companies, who also incidentally are desperate to appease the ESG gods and curry favour with BlackRock. Sweet Baby Inc. controlled both the problem and the solution. Work with us and we will make your game suitable for a modern audience, and in return we will protect you from the angry woke mob, who according to many sources appear to be largely inseparable from the people working at Sweet Baby Inc. and their activist followers. FY fucking I. Or should I say FY fucking I allegedly? It's brilliant really. Sweet Baby Inc. come along and basically says, pay us money, we will make your game woke vomit. You can stick our company logo on your website, and if anyone tries to cancel the game, we will run interference for you. We will summon our angry horde and attack any critics to call them names like racists and homophobe. But if you don't hire us, we will do the same to you. It is literally no different from any classic protection racket. They come around, demand protection money, and explain that if you don't pay, somebody might just come around and smash up the windows of your store. And you wouldn't want that, would you? So with this extensive groundwork laid, along with a parking lot and a full drainage system, I can finally just lay out the key takeaways and implications and the significance of the Sweet Baby Inc. fiasco, and its place in the current maelstrom of the video game world. So here goes. Sweet Baby Inc. does not exist in isolation. They are merely activist foot soldiers in a wider cultural and political war, leveraged against you. They are useful idiots who found a niche, funding and a grift because of the specific social conditions that they are operating in. They can only operate because they are protected by the state, by social policy, government mandates, prosecution policy, and a host of other conditions that all percolate down from the top of this mountain in the form of global governance. Sweet Baby Inc. are not arch villains. Dear God, don't credit them with that much clout. They are willing and very well paid circus performers in a big top pitched by elites. They are doing magic tricks on the crowd whilst picking their pockets, and if the circus tent collapses, they will quickly find themselves out on the street being reclassified as good old fashioned plain old thieves. Racist thieves. Allegedly. Sweet Baby Inc. are not single-handedly destroying the video game industry. Don't misunderstand me, I have no doubt that Sweet Baby Inc. has done the majority of the heavy lifting on the video games they have worked on and been primarily responsible for single-handedly destroying those games. I will certainly grant them that accolade. But there are lots of consultancy firms like Sweet Baby Inc. Lots of devs who are more woke than a transsexual clown sex chem orgy. And lots of developers who are delighted to prostrate themselves on the buggery altar of progressive politics if it means that lovely ESG money rolls in and the publishing finance deals go through. But make no mistake, Sweet Baby Inc. are merely spiteful little financially motivated ideological peons situated in a wider cultural conflict. They are part of an organised social policy drive to disenfranchise the voice of the majority and replace our cultural icons with narratives that are better suited to demented TikTok culture and trans demonstrations. Follow the receipts, because if you follow the money, it goes straight up the chain of command, up through local governance, through financial institutions like BlackRock, then up a cable car to the World Economic Forum, and that's if there's space on the cable car. Because I shit you not, the cable cars at Davos are full of prostitutes. Seriously, not even kidding. Did you know there's a shortage of high-class hookers in Europe when the Davos circus rolls into town? One rule for me, one rule for thee. Sweet Baby Inc. are profoundly racist, allegedly. This is critically important to understand, based on Kim Bellairs and her collaborators' own interviews and presentations in the public domain alone. They certainly seem to be a bunch of profoundly anti-white racists and bigots. They espouse the principles of judging people based on inherent characteristics, race and religion. Based on interviews with people who work at Sweet Baby Inc., she hires lots of anti-white racists. They remove characters from the game based on race and sexuality. They put other characters in the game based on race and sexuality. They see both straight white men as problematic customers and problematic characters. Her crew and people affiliated with her are open about not hiring white people. Open about wanting to create a safe space where no whites are allowed. They don't like Whitey because we are picky babies and we ruin their safe spaces. And their day-to-day business is trundling around, cutting content or adding it based on inherent qualities that allegedly are supposed to be protected from discrimination in law. And I'll take a wild punt on the fact they probably don't like Asians either, based on my working knowledge of BLM. These guys, it's sad to say, are proud about being racist in both their workplace and in their work. And they are proud about it because the only perceived victims are white people. Don't take my word for it, check out their own interviews. White straight people are the root of all evil according to them. They need to, and I quote, take over, replace and eradicate their problematic existence in both the workplace and in video games. As a complete random yet adjacent aside, did you know there were non-white SS regiments in World War II? Obviously, this has nothing to do with Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers, but someone mentioned it in the comments section once and I thought it was so fascinating I decided to research it. Funny how we hold these assumptions about historical archetypes of evil, which may blind us to the presence of evil in our own era. Just saying. It also means that based on Danny Lalonde's own interview, where she boasts and giggles about not hiring Whitey, this also means that technically the Waffen-SS had better diversity and inclusivity credentials than some of these supposed diversity consultants. Sweet Baby Inc. habitually lie. If this scandal is typified by any particular trope, it's that Sweet Baby Inc. do one thing, then say they do another. And then someone on the internet digs up contradictory evidence and busts them in 4K. Although to be fair, this is frequently true with a lot of these kinds of activist shitheels. Whilst their motives might be financial and political, their job is about managing and manipulating perception. Ergo, it's essentially public relations. And if there's one thing I learned by covering the Division franchise, is that PR guys are all about perception and not about reality. They say whatever makes them sound good in the moment and operate under the assumption that the searchlight of news currency will move on. So will the crowd of onlookers, and people will have short memories. Unfortunately, the internet generally never forgets. So these PR types get very comfortable bullshitting during peacetime, but when a situation goes critical and all eyes are on them, their scant attention to consistency, honesty and integrity gets exposed under the critical glare of objective analysis. Now I get it. Nobody is perfect. I'm routinely guilty of hyperbole, exaggeration, inference, not citing enough sources, glue sniffing, misinterpretation, formulating speculative conclusions, making honest, well-meaning mistakes, murder, inaccuracy, and occasionally blurting out the wrong word, like saying EA when I meant to say Activision. And if there is only one thing in my videos that I can reliably guarantee, it's that at least one factual mistake will slip through the net every damn time. Usually through a failure to fact check every single iota of the video. And frequently it's more than one. But I don't get up in the morning and just fucking lie to service my interests. I at least try to be completely accurate, honest and correct. My intent is to present the facts and make my case, and even if people don't agree, at least we can disagree based on the interpretation of the evidence. There just ain't no point in pulling the kinds of stunts that Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers do, where they blatantly brag about doing one thing, then later on deny those acts in tweets and statements, despite their own public statements to the contrary. Because on the internet, you usually always get busted. And if your viewership is intelligent and not a gaggle of ideologically driven compliant peons, you will get called out. And maybe this points to two different problems with this kind of ideologically driven activist shenanigans. One, they operate in an echo chamber where their supporters and collaborators are entirely uncritical about their claims. Two, they think dishonesty is entirely acceptable. And this is a problem. It's a particular problem associated with PR and activism, because truth is merely a tertiary consideration. The truth is something you include if it is a useful addition to your argument, and if it supports your agenda. If it doesn't, then either leave it out or lie. The important thing is convincing people, right? Winning the argument and looking good whilst you do it. Truth and reality is merely a tool in the toolbox to help in this goal. It's not the goal itself. Lying, generally, is a false economy. It's basically a way to get a free breakfast at the cost of lunch and dinner. It erodes your credibility and diminishes anything you say in the future. Not that Sweet Baby give a fuck about any of this. They don't appear to have any ethics. Their audience is a gaggle of ideologically driven compliant peons, and they lie habitually. Now, I make no claim to moral virtue here. I have simply learned over the years that I'm too forgetful and absent-minded to be any good at lying. It requires a lot of effort to constantly lie, and remember all your bullshit so you don't contradict yourself later. It all seems like too much effort, unless you're some kind of psychopath who derives some kind of sick pleasure from deceiving people. So yeah, I ain't no paragon of virtue. I'm just lazy. If you want an easy life, I would personally suggest just sticking to the truth or shutting the fuck up. It's good advice when a lawyer says it, and now I'm saying it too. All the way through this debacle, Sweet Baby Inc. has made claims in their own defence, then been called out on their blatant bullshit. They claim they're the victim of a harassment campaign. Turns out they started a harassment campaign. They claim this is a targeted, politically motivated attack. Turns out that they are the politically motivated attackers. They claim they do very little to change video games for the worse. Turns out there's a host of interviews of Kim Belair bragging about wrecking video games, from top to bottom. Although she used fancy words like introducing diversity. They claim they don't want to spoil games for anyone. Turns out she was in an interview admitting that white gamers are problematic and she needs to get them out of the picture so she can fully realise her vision of a woke dystopian gaming space. She literally admitted that her changes are frequently unpopular with gamers. They claim they are the victims of racism. Turns out that there are a plethora of videos showing clearly that Sweet Baby Inc. and companies like them are a bunch of bitter anti-white racists. These guys are not to be trusted. If Kim Belair told me it was dangerous to stick a grenade up my arse, I would be pulling the pin out and Jack Murphying that M67 in an instant, just in case gold coins came out of my jacksie when it detonated. Nothing they say can be trusted, and frequently what they say is the exact opposite of what happened. That is not a statement of principle, that is a statement based on facts. Because already the internet is slathered in videos showing what they claim, and then providing evidence of them doing or saying something else in the past. I appreciate that people sometimes change their minds over time, and I don't make a rule of damning someone because they said something dumb 5 years ago. People's opinions evolve over time. I have certainly said things in previous videos which I don't agree with now. This is not that. These guys are bullshitting about stuff they did last week, for fuck's sake. If anything, they've got worse over time. But setting all excuses, latitude and understanding aside, pretty much every single thing that Kim Belair and Sweet Baby has said about this entire scenario has almost immediately been proven to be factually incorrect, based on hard evidence to the contrary. And frankly, the legacy media articles defending Sweet Baby Inc. and attacking gamers ain't much better. Kiwi Farms conspiracy? Fuck off. Right-wing harassment campaign? Eat shit. Racist online hate? Get a life. Half the gaming YouTubers I watch are not white, and some of them are ladies. Real old-fashioned ladies of yesteryear. The ladies who use the right toilet and don't have a cock. In fact, I'm a fan of a couple of trans YouTubers too, although to their credit, They are actually real trans people, not pretend trans activist types. In case these anti-white racists haven't noticed, there are plenty of very popular non-white gaming channels these days, and many of them are dunking on Sweet Baby Inc. right now because they don't agree with their bullshit either. Sweet Baby Inc. are fucking liars and gaslighters. Don't take my word for it. The receipts are out there in the public domain. Allegedly. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is state-sponsored corporate Maoism. One common theme when talking about the World Economic Forum, ESG compliance, BlackRock, internet censorship, diversity, equity and inclusion, the crackdown on farmers, civilian disarmament, the wholesale destruction of Western cultural values, and the general top-down diktats of the global elite is this. People who are either politically biased or simply ignorant as all fuck reflexively counter with, "But that's just a conspiracy theory." To which my response is generally, "All this shit is in the public domain, dummy." And it is all in the public domain. You think the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory? Go read the fucking book. It's on Amazon. You can even get it as an audiobook if you want to fall asleep listening to something that is guaranteed to give you nightmares. Do you think BlackRock's forced cultural Marxism is a conspiracy theory? Go watch the video of them talking about how they are enforcing it. Do you think the World Economic Forum's plans for a globally controlled state is a conspiracy theory? Go to their own damn website or YouTube channel and watch them talk about their plans. Subject to some of the juicier videos being deleted for PR reasons, like the infamous "You will own nothing and you will be happy" video. Yeah, the reason you can't find any trace of that video has nothing to do with it being a conspiracy theory. It's because the World Economic Forum freaked out at the massive backlash and started deleting every trace of it.
Just like the Soros press release is gone from that website on the Government of Canada page where it's been for 4 years. That's weird. Now, similar videos are on other pages, and our intrepid producer, Justin, has found a copy that someone had made of the video before it was deleted. I'm not saying it's deleted from every single place in the world. I just find it weird that they tweeted it, and that tweet was up for 4 years and then it was just taken down last week. I don't know, that's strange, don't you think? So I'm going to show you the video that was on that tweet, because I want you to see what they're talking about. Those masters of the universe who meet behind closed doors with George Soros and Justin Trudeau. Let me show you the video that was on that link. I'll play it through once and then again with some comments. Here, watch. This is what was deleted after 4 years online.
Please do not conflate ignorance with skepticism. There's not a single damn thing I've said in this video that isn't in the public domain and 30 seconds away from your crusty keyboard if you just open your browser and have a look for it. Sweet Baby Inc. are not alone. As fun and easy as it is to lay all the ills of the video game world at the feet of this particular ship of fools, there is a buttload of consultancy firms just like them, and probably worse. Sweet Baby just lurched into the spotlight because of their own tyrannical targeted harassment campaign against the Sweet Baby Inc. detected Steam group. And besides, plenty of blame resides with the developers and publishers themselves. Whilst I despise Sweet Baby Inc. and everything they stand for, let's not forget that the people who make the video games are signing off on this shit.
My name is Piotr Nielubowicz. I'm a member of the board and CFO at CD Projekt. I'm also personally involved in a range of environmental, social and governance initiatives, ESG for short, and I'm responsible for CD Projekt Group's reporting in this matter. I would like to present our strategic approach to ESG issues in the context of our business.
If I hired a consultancy firm to come around and rehabilitate my public image, that doesn't mean that they are solely and wholly responsible for what I do next. If they came around and told me to start simping for diversity, equity and inclusion, make videos defending pronouns in Starfield, start attacking YouTubers critical of ESG, and generally start behaving like my wife's boyfriend had taken me to a cultural sensitivity class, this does not mean I have to go out and actually do it. Who do you think I am? The Act Man? If a consultancy firm gives you bad advice, you fuck them off and sling them out the door. If the developers and publishers are going along with this shite, then they are equally to blame. I'm sorry, but the I was only following orders defence didn't work for the actual Nazis, and it doesn't work for these metaphorical ones either. I don't care if you're just pushing the people onto the trains and your job stops there. If you know where the trains are heading, you are as responsible as anyone else. Developers who hire Sweet Baby Inc. are just as bad as Sweet Baby themselves, because 1, they hired them in the first place, and 2, they followed their shit advice. So don't give developers like Bethesda and Arcane Studios a hall pass, because the best case scenario is that they were willing participants in this shit, and the worst is that they are actively engaged in it. If you were a developer and you let your characters get race swapped or gender swapped because of Sweet Baby's pernicious meddling and you didn't put up a fight, then you are part of the problem. And let's not forget this grift has been a long time brewing. We should have all seen the signs a long time ago. The Last of Us DLC where Ellie's sexuality was switched, Anita Sarkeesian slobbering over the internet with her lies, gaslighting and protection racket spiel. Everything Ubisoft has done ever since Far Cry 2. We saw this train coming down the tracks for years, but it was moving so slowly we kept taking our eye off it. Until the train barreled into the station and into the back of the stationary carriages. But the warnings were clearly always there. It's not just the supporters, it's the ones who remain silent. Now I don't want to throw shade on the Act Man. Hell, I used to follow his channel, and I used to be a fan. Once. But I feel compelled to note this. The Act Man got demonetised for railing against Quantum TV. The community came rushing to his defence. He got remonetised. He came back. Then he went woke.
I mean, this is literally just an option for role-playing purposes.
Well, if it's never brought up again, why do you even have to pick the pronoun?
Now, if you tried to start the game and it stopped you and put this big-ass wall of text that said, "Whoa, Buster, you haven't picked your pronouns yet. You're not a bigot, are you?" You know, then you would have a bit more of a case for the game being woke.
Be a conservative when you are a living Wojak. When you are like a subset of the soy jack. Getting angry at this over pronouns.
I think Bethesda's agenda only goes so far as to creating more role-playing and customization options.
Seriously, I don't know if his PR agent told him to increase his DEI and ESG rating, but he suddenly bursts out of YouTube jail, swinging with both lady fists, and starts attacking people who criticise pronouns in Starfield, and launched a personal attack on Twitter against Az from Heels vs Babyface about his quasi-poetic and entirely justified diatribe against a woke current-day politics in Starfield, and also went after him in a video. Then, via back channels, he made noises about ending the beef that he started. Then, literally moments after the conversation, he busted out a video taking another pop at Az, before Az had even had a chance to respond to his initial overtures of peace. Now, all of this points towards a distinct lack of character and genuineness on behalf of the Act Man, but that's not the real issue here. I don't know what is up with the Act Man. Perhaps someone fucked up his hormone prescription, but I will say this. The Act Man's opinions on liking pronouns in video games is his business. It's his opinion. And more power to him. Zer, they, them. Don't care. But deliberately attacking people who are pissed off with it, well, that firmly draws your line and lady pronouns in the sand. Maybe he's just trying to rehabilitate himself after practically threatening to shoot Quantum TV and making some rather easily misinterpreted jokes/threats about doxing YouTube staff. I don't know, and I have no fucks to give, but he was all piss and vinegar whenever he was punching down on smaller channels. But then the tables turned, and when he was finally let out of YouTube jail, he jumped on the ESG train. I think that is significant. And it also makes me wonder if anything he says is anything more than crowd pleasing and grifting. He is another example of YouTubers who would probably promote puberty blockers for 5-year-olds if it got him decent engagement. But some people, like Az, actually have beliefs and principles they believe in, and attacking those people, especially with personal attacks, is pretty weak. But just as bad are the gaming YouTubers who remain silent. The "I don't want to get involved" crowd. Well, sadly, if you play video games these days, you are already involved in this cultural paradigm, and you can either choose to oppose it, choose to support it, or you can just cower in fear, try to skirt the issue and try and do what your brand manager tells you to do. But your silence is support. Avoiding the issue is complicity, I'm afraid, and in some regards it's actually worse than the idiots that support all this racist DEI shite. Don't get me wrong, plenty of people support DEI and the woke agenda simply because that is their grift, and it's good for their ESG credentials, but some people are genuine fucking idiots, and you have to respect that stupidity. But take a note of these fence sitters, because they are legion, and don't for a second be fooled by the "I read out the news to a webcam" kind of YouTubers. You know who I'm talking about. The ones that want to exploit the engagement metrics of the controversy, but stoically don't want to take a side. They sit on the internet, reading out other people's opinions, reporting on other people's outrage, whilst remaining officially neutral, so they can keep their hands clean. Pay attention to their own professed opinions and see if they have one, or if they're just re-reporting someone else's outrage. You will soon figure out if they're just outrage farmers who are trying to keep their noses clean. Sweet Baby Inc. is a protection racket by any other name. Allegedly. Anita Sarkeesian did it in plain sight. She literally tweeted to developers issuing veiled threats and offering her paid services to shield them from cancellation. Now imagine if I was an old school fire and brimstone anti-abortion Christian preacher, and I tried a stunt like that on a video game company. I would be instantly reported to the police. Hell, I'd probably already be on an FBI database as a domestic threat because I bought a Bible from Amazon. But for some reason, if you have certain specific woke politics, you get a hall pass. If you have other certain specific conservative politics, you will be slammed in jail faster than you can say, "Why the fuck is the FBI compiling a database of potential domestic terrorists and putting people on the list for merely citing certain quotes from the Founding Fathers or owning certain types of flags?" The Sweet Baby Inc. CEO, just like Sarkeesian, operates the same racket and does it in plain sight. This is a classic protection racket, and thanks to selective prosecution practices, selective police investigative practices, and cultural double standards, some people are allowed to do it now apparently. This is a top-down operation. I've said enough about this, but just keep it at the forefront of your mind when you see institutions like Sweet Baby Inc. Do not for an instant imagine they are isolated phenomena and operating in a vacuum. They did not spontaneously jump out of the fucking ether. Like any weed infestation, they need the right conditions to grow. Video games have gone woke for the same reasons that TV shows have gone woke, films have gone woke, social media has gone woke, Disney has gone woke, comics have gone woke, the BBC has gone woke, the police have gone woke, local government officials have gone woke, Hollywood has gone woke. This is not some massive string of coincidences. Check the receipts and follow the money trail. Sweet Baby Inc. are the angry mob. Thanks to the fine investigative work done by other content creators who have dredged into the past activities of Sweet Baby staff, one sorry picture is emerging. Whilst Kim Belair might openly teach people to menace marketing departments using the spectre of the angry mob, the line between the angry mob and Sweet Baby itself seems rather unclear to me. In fact, some would say that they are the angry mob. I've seen people provide evidence of the following: Sweet Baby Inc. staff targeting a private individual on Twitter, them singling a person out for harassment, explicitly stating they wanted to cause him financial harm. By very definition, this is brigading and drumming up the support of others to harass the individual. And shockingly, at least one other member of Sweet Baby management has been guilty of similar activities in the past and even launched a DDoS attack on someone. I'd think you could forgive someone for coming to the conclusion that when Sweet Baby threatens the marketing department with consequences of the angry mob, she could equally just use the phrase, me, my staff, and my friends. Perhaps she should just say we. Hire us to consult for you, do what we say, or we will target you. Allegedly, of course. Sweet Baby Inc. objectively make video games worse. As a gamer, this is obviously the most important part. Just check out their CV of shame. Alan kill Whitey too. Do you hate Whitey? Do you fantasize about being a cop so you can hate Whitey with impunity? Well, that won't help you grind through this sack of shit walking simulator, because it's so terrible, even the anti-white racists can't stand it. Forspoken. It's like someone took the dumbest character out of a Netflix schoolgirl TV show and gave them their own series. This game practically qualifies as being a lobotomy simulator, because after a few hours of listening to the shit that comes out of this protagonist's mouth, you will find yourself sitting there perplexed, drooling, scratching your head and thinking, just imagine being that dumb. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ubisoft's mighty multi-ethnic Viking simulator where the real bad guys are the English, so you destroy their towns and murder them, because equity. Suddenly the out-of-place skits about protecting refugees in this game all make perfect sense. Plus, you can't murder and rape women. I'm out. God of War Ragnarok, a slightly pedo-mythical video game saga about a Norse god who is actually black now. But I will let them off this time because it was Christopher Judge from Stargate SG-1. He can do what he likes as far as I'm concerned. You basically wander around talking dramatically with a small confused boy in tow. I'm surprised they didn't cast Kevin Spacey for the role, in all fairness. Oh, and you hit things with a toy axe. Marvellous. Personally, I didn't understand what all the fuss was about, really. Then again, I didn't get invited to the PR trip to Norway. I'm sure if I had, I'd be lying about how revolutionary the game was as well. Spider-Man 2 Special Pride Flag Edition. Run around the city of whatever and do lots of boring stuff where people bang on about diversity. A game that was so woke, people developed mods to remove the wokeness, which then got removed by Nexus Mods, because they've gone woke too. Every time I heard anything about this game, it was bad. At least they haven't turned the costume into a furry outfit yet. This scenario exemplifies victim culture. One huge irony of the entire situation is how the bullies in this scenario are trying to weaponise fake claims of victimhood within the DEI framework. Let's not forget that this entire shitshow kicked off in the first place precisely because Sweet Baby launched an organised harassment campaign on social media and some of the accounts were officially branded business accounts. Lol, that's not very ESG compliant. This whole scenario reminds me of that video where the trans dude punches a reporter and when he tries to make a citizen's arrest, the trans aggressor starts screaming at the cops that he was attacked and the cops end up letting him go and detaining the victim whilst the criminal flees the scene. This is the same shit. Now, I'm sure that at this point in the online firestorm, there are some people saying less than gracious things on the internet about Sweet Baby Inc. Because let's face it, if you were having an online argument about kitten videos, at some point a rando will pile in and threaten to murder all the kittens. Such is the way of the internet. But the important thing here is that Sweet Baby orchestrated an online harassment campaign on company time, focused on a single, innocent civilian, whose only alleged affront was starting a Steam group which listed Sweet Baby's very shit work. Legacy media is accusing Valve and Twitter of facilitating right-wing hate. Game Developer is calling for Valve and Discord to shut all the critics down. Bryant Francis from the GDC is signal boosting this and calling them out for terms of service violations. And all of this weaponised victimhood is being targeted directly at the public, and they're being framed as the transgressor, when the entire situation is merely gamers reacting to a corporately organised harassment campaign. And this is all representative of a core problem with DEI, protected groups, special protected status, and the general practice of exploiting all these woke victimhood privileges as a shield, whilst you do evil. These guys are the harassers, and because they're so well versed in the language and rhetoric of victimhood, they know precisely how to mobilise these mechanisms for their defence, and they are interfaced with the means to invoke others to defend them too. Everyone calling this a far-right conspiracy should be ashamed, because this factually, and based on the evidence, is a left-wing conspiracy. A group of openly racist commie progressives conspired to harass a private individual, and the public erupted in response. This isn't a Kiwi Farm situation. It's not a political situation per se. It's a fuck around and find out situation. This is all about prioritising propaganda over the customer. This is one of the truly bizarre outcomes of all of this. These DEI and ESG strategies have a principal and primary victim. The damn customer. The person who pays the bills. How funny is that? As BlackRock would say, this is about forcing behaviour. But what people might have missed is that this is not just about forcing behaviour on the corporations, it's ultimately about forcing behaviour on the customers too. I guess the punchline to this massive joke at the expense of capitalism is this. If all entertainment is woke shit, then the customers will be forced to get used to it, because they won't have a fucking choice. Now, I will reluctantly concede that I've actually seen some gamers make statements to the effect that they have resigned themselves to their fate, that they've stopped kicking against the pricks, that they just put up with all this woke shit and try and zone it out. Personally though, I think we all need to push back until this shit fails, because I honestly believe that eventually people will revolt, either fiscally or at the ballot box or by demonstration. I think BlackRock's plan suffers from some minor flaws, particularly logic and choice in the marketplace. You see, if your long-term business strategy is, if there is piss in all the beer, people will just have to get used to drinking piss, well, people do have options. Obviously, they can stop playing altogether, but most likely we will see the continued resurgence of indie developers who realise there is a huge market for non-woke and anti-woke games. I reckon it's just a matter of time until someone releases a Battlefield-style game where one team is patriots and the other team is comprised of blue-haired transgender activists. Or maybe a survival game where you're stranded on an island, run by an evil scientist who is raising an army of transgender stormtroopers by cloning babies and forcibly giving them sex changes at birth. For reasons I haven't made up yet. You play the part of Chet Manly Man, and your NPC sidekick is the busty bikini-wearing Brenda Hamrack, and you rampage around the island, killing all the weirdos and commies, and destroying all the hormone silos. You know, basically like a non-shit, non-woke version of Far Cry 5. Damn, I really need to get into game development. The legacy media is part of this problem. Exactly the same shit that's going down in gaming went down years ago in the mainstream video game media industry. If any of the major corporate outlets open their face holes to let stupid words drop out, you can factually assume that they'll be prosecuting a political line and defending the likes of Sweet Baby Inc. Remember how I keep saying it's not a conspiracy theory, just follow the receipts and it all leads directly to Davos and the World Economic Forum? Well, this is yet another perfect example. The gaming press collude, and they are organised to service the DEI agenda. Let's just take a look at Gamergate 1, and I apologise for those of you who've already heard this a couple of times. Gamergate 1 is basically a story about a liar and a village idiot / harlot. An idiot / harlot who got caught banging the person who gave her game a great review, and it later conspired 6 other people at the same time. She gets about. Anyway, this fired up a debate about integrity in gaming journalism, or its fundamental lack. Almost immediately, the entire mainstream gaming journalism press fired back with a volley of articles entirely avoiding the real issue, whilst trying to reshape their kerfuffle as targeted harassment against women in gaming. Essentially, the articles were all rolling with an identical narrative about the death of the white male gamer. White male gamers are racist, sexist harassers that need to go. Only here is the thing. Turns out all the articles were coordinated by a secret journalist email group called Game Journo Pros. This group was run by Kyle Orland, senior games editor at Ars Technica. Kyle Orland is the son of Martin Orland. Martin Orland is a super rich dude who hangs around with elites. He has a laundry list of sinister jobs, including working in the US educational and advisory community, drumroll please, specialising in researching and influence behaviour using media like video games. And one of the biggest financial backers of all of Martin Orland's sinister shit is the Bill Gates Foundation. Because Bill Gates is apparently obsessed with using entertainment to reshape people's minds. And Bill Gates, obviously, is a member and agenda contributor at the World Economic Forum. So once again, we have a chain of receipts where the money and power can be traced from the most humble peon Maoist Kotaku video game journalist all the way up via the ski lift to Davos. There is a reason why these days I frequently find myself researching people's connections to Davos, because it frequently explains why they're participating in certain types of conduct and not talking about the prostitutes. Davos. 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 I'm sorry to say, but legacy media fell years ago, and it's only worth perusing to read the headline or to monitor the spread of neo-Marxist propaganda. And don't kid yourself that you can read between the lines and interpret what's going on and see through their propaganda, because frequently it's not an issue of bias. It's a homogenous mass of blatant bullshit that conveniently leaves out whole swathes of reality. Look at the coverage of Sweet Baby Inc. Most outlets are running with a version of reality that entirely admits the fact that 1. They started it, and 2. They are the people who started a targeted harassment campaign against Cabrutus. If you want video game news, dear fuck, don't bother with legacy media. Go straight to the experts. There are a ton of decent YouTubers out there who are not shilling DEI. Like the Ackman. And don't even get me started about the idiot ex-prostitute at Kotaku who thinks she's white knighting for Sweet Baby by basically trying to intimidate and harass Melanie Mack for being Christian. These arse puppets really should be wearing ankle monitors and made to sign in at their local police station every day. If they weren't stalking people for social justice, I'm sure they would just be plain stalking. Scientific studies show empirically that woke politics make people unhappy. This won't come as a shock to anyone, unless they are woke obviously, but multiple scientific studies have shown that the more woke you are, the lower you score on quality of life and contentment scales. In fact, you can practically predict people's political views based on their levels of resentment, animosity to strangers, racist attitudes, lack of personal responsibility, externalising blame, whether they have blue hair, if they're randomly triggered by nonsense, if they're perpetually angry, basically. if they are miserable, whinging pains in the arse. It has been shown that extremely woke progressive activists are 17 times more likely to piss people off at parties by droning on about pointless shit, like saving the environment and enforcing social justice. It's amazing really, because these guys are constantly blathering on about making the world a better place, and the one thing they could do right now to achieve that goal is to just shut the fuck up for 5 minutes, or simply leave. It has been shown that people who self-identify as progressive activists are more likely to be a bedwetter, have antisocial body odour problems, have more than 3 sexually transmitted diseases, spontaneously cry when presented uncomfortable facts that contradict their bullshit narrative about social injustice, or even just presented with pictures of Donald Trump smiling. And they give really shit blowies and fart when they get nervous. Now yes, I will concede that I made all of this shit up off the top of my head, but it's still probably true. It's certainly consistent with my anecdotal experience of this bunch of crazies. These activist types really are unpleasant to be around. They bore the shit out of normal people, say one politically incorrect thing and they lose their shit, and despite championing DEI, they're the most openly racist people on the planet. Many of the white activists hate themselves for being white. And this is the biggest of big ironies about all of this shit. Despite my being politically neutral, the Switzerland of this debate if you will, I do happen to know quite a few Republicans, Christians and right-wingers, and not one single one of them would countenance or entertain racism. And not all of them are white either. I shit you not, this entire bullshit narrative that right-wing equals racist is a fucking lie. I once read an article that accused the Proud Boys of being white supremacists, yet with no appreciation of the irony, later in the same article pointed out that their leader was half black, half Cuban. This notion that all right-wing people trundle off to neo-Nazi training camps in the summer and burn crosses didn't make sense in the 1960s, and it certainly isn't true now. But if you really want to hear someone spout some truly racist shit in public, and you're in a hurry, just check out some random DEI activist on Twitter and you will no doubt find them busting out racist tropes about whites and Asians within seconds. They can't contain themselves. The very fact that a lot of these progressive race grifter types refer to Asians as white adjacent says it all. It's just a wordplay to justify being racist about Asians because Asians disintegrate the whole race privilege argument. Because Asians are non-white immigrants too, and they outperform both blacks and whites, both in work and education, which is very problematic if you're trying to claim that all social injustice is caused by the white patriarchy. And meanwhile little Kevin Tran and his Asian GF are top of the class at college. Awkward. Oh, turns out that actually all this shit I made up was true. Who would have thunk it? I can't find a study about the bedwetting though, so for now, let's just take that one on faith. I mean, these woke pricks make shit up all the time, right? Why can't we? Hit them in the wallet. This goes without saying, along with other golden oldies that people routinely ignore like, don't pre-order. Seriously guys and dolls, do not buy into this shit, and certainly don't preemptively buy into it by pre-ordering. Don't delude yourself and end up whinging things like, I suspected it might be woke shit, but I love the franchise and thought I'd take the chance. Do not trust developer hype, nor YouTuber shill hype. Don't believe statements like, I didn't really notice any wokeness. Just let the game launch, sit on your hands, and even if it's slightly woke, buy a different game. These days there is a surging market in indie games that are not buying into all this DEI shit, because with a couple of brain cells and a modicum of integrity, some indie studios are rightly coming to the conclusion that there is a massive emerging market for non-woke games. This is why AAA studios like to punch down on certain indie titles, whilst the mainstream publishers are wrecking their ships on the jagged rocks of woke, other smaller ships are sailing right on by. Find those indie games and go and buy them. Be nice. I was nice once. It was horrible. But seriously, I'm not actually joking about this. As far wiser people than me have rightly pointed out, if you engage with this whole Gamergate 2 scandal on social media, on forums or in comment sections, let charm, intelligence and wit be your weapons of choice. Basically, dear fuck, don't be like me. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of public opinion. If you go on Twitter and call Kim Belair rude words, those rude words will be used as evidence that a hate campaign is going on, and the sort of whinging hermaphrodite that supports her cause will only see that, swallow the bullshit narrative, bask in the lazy comfort of confirmation bias, and look no further. Disarm them with reason, logic and compassion. As I said, don't be like me. I've had to deal with idiots like this before, and I warn you to not underestimate their capacity for victim framing, victimhood and manipulation. These kinds of activists are perfectly happy to pick a fight, but the second you swing back, they roll around on the ground and cry foul. By all means, take them to task, but do it in a smart, calm and factual way. Engaging in rage-fueled diatribes about what filthy scum they are might be cathartic in the short term. Trust me, it is. But in the long term, it services their agenda and not ours. And dear fucking Lord, don't go out of your way to contact anyone I've called out in this video. They are mostly subjects of pity and should not be targeted for hate. If you tried to sum up this whole situation as a joke, it would probably start something like this. A racist, a Marxist and a prostitute walk into a bar. And it would probably end with them going up to the guy playing on the video game console and accusing him of being a bigot. Yeah, they still make old-fashioned video game consoles, don't you know? Whilst I'm sure the entire chain of events will get rewritten in the history book of lies, i.e. Wikipedia, just like Gamergate 1.0, the key takeaway here is that the bad guys started this. And now everyone is trying to turn the victims into the villains and the villains into the victims. Sweet Baby Inc. and their analogues don't seem like very nice people, frankly. They seem deluded, spiteful and hateful. But never forget to follow the money and the power, because that is the root cause of all this strife. I am painfully aware that this video has dragged you through a cesspit of corporate corruption, and more significantly, this video might require some of you to take a lot of things on faith. But I honestly hope you don't, and you take the time to go and look up the things I've ranted about. It's a fascinating rabbit hole, and it's very easy to find the entrance. Mark my words though, once you start googling search terms with plus WEF on the end, what you find will shock you. You will suddenly realise that it wasn't a coincidence that Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland and Scotland and several other countries seemingly spontaneously rolled out almost identical online censorship laws, all under the guise of protecting the children. It will make you realise why your leaders say one thing at home and something else entirely when they're at Davos, and it will make you realise that Sweet Baby Inc. is just another brick in the wall. But on a positive note, I only ended up using the word woke about 100 times. I honestly thought it would be more than that. But for now, good luck and happy hunting.